Well,
That
I don't know what
is,
Mr. Legault thinks, but I think it all depends on the score that they get tonight. I mean, if they're third behind the Parti Québécois and the Conservative Party, well, not so bad because everyone is expecting them to do the by-election anyway. But if they end up behind the Liberal Party, which has never been very strong in this region of the province, and even behind Québec Solidaire, which would be a terrible result if they ended up in fifth place, well, then that would send a very strong message to the CAQ and to Mr. Legault as to the decisions that they have to make in the future.
Andre Pratt from a conversation we had earlier this afternoon, former Canadian senator, now political analyst. James Mennie's on the line over at the Montreal Gazette. So, Jim, let me start by asking you. It sounds like he's saying it's not whether the CAQ lose. That seems to be a given. It's by how much they lose.
Okay, first of all, welcome back. I hope you didn't have too much problems finding the place, Aaron, because it's been a bit of. No, listen, I was listening to you talk to that nice Monsieur Pratt, and the fact of the matter is, he kind of danced around it, because the Liberal Party is never really that strong and that. No. What makes this by-election so infinitely important is not that whoever wins, it's not going to change the nature of the government or the nature of the standing very drastically in the National Assembly. It's who loses and by how much you lose.
Right.
Indeed, no one's expecting the CAQ to win this one. But guess what? If they come in third, okay, because the perception is this is a dead heat between the PQ and the Conservative Party of Quebec. Although I got to tell you, Aaron, let's be careful here. The last survey was done in June, and it's a very small sampling. There's a lot of distortion in terms of the results. Back then, we had the Liberal candidate basically polling 10%, which is not very great. But I got to tell you, if the Liberals come in, say, fourth, but like a distance course, all of a sudden people are going to start using the expression, the Rodriguez effect with a different tone of voice. Same thing with the PECs. If they win, that's fine. If they do not win by a landslide, if they do not put a big gap between them and the second place party, questions are going to be asked, and perhaps that nice Paul St. Pierre Plamondon is going to have to look for a made in Quebec penknife to start, trying to cut that noose he put around his neck with his promise to hold a referendum in a first term. And also, let's face it, I know he said he'll run again if he loses tonight. But Eric James, head of the Conservative Party of Quebec, he's campaigned hard. He did everything he had to do. But the fact is, if he doesn't win this one, and plus, if he doesn't narrowly lose, the question is, perhaps, is he in the right line of work? Is he the guy who's going to move the Quebec Conservative Party into government, or perhaps is it time he perhaps stood down and let someone else try and do the job? Québec Solidaire, as far as I'm concerned, is becoming increasingly irrelevant with every passing hour. So I'm not really sure where they're going to finish up unless it's in fifth place, but it could be worse than that. There are 10 candidates running, in fact. But all this to tell you, it's so crazy because you really can't sort of predict an outcome. And also, lest we forget, and these are some of the things that we don't really discuss often enough, it is just as stinking hot in Victoriaville and Arthabaska right now as it is in Montreal. So I don't know. The good turnout for the advanced polls, 26%, more than double than what the advanced polls for the last by-election in Terrebonne, which was won by the PQ. But all that said, I mean, if you're dedicated and go out in this 100-degree or plus 40 humid X heat, that's really well and good. But the fact here is it's an endurance test, I think, not just for the electorate, but also for the perceived major parties, almost an audition, if you will, for what I keep referring to as a dress rehearsal for the general election of 2026.
Maybe the other question here, maybe we're sort of, as you pointed out at the beginning, Jim, the last survey, the polling was done, goes back a couple of months. So there's potentially a lot that's changed. Do the Liberals take this as, you mentioned and I think that's interesting, the Rodriguez effect, if they don't sort of make any kind of an impact here, what does that say for the provincial Liberals?
Oh, they'll just let it, slide like water off their back because they don't really pay attention to anything that doesn't involve their own committees or their own reports or their own point of view. And they'll say, well, it's the center of Quebec. Guess what, folks? These are the same people who said, we've got to reach out to the region.
Yeah.
And that's great. And to all intents and purposes, the candidate for the Liberals, Chantal Marchand, is she's one of the few locals actually running. She's a part of the infrastructure of the riding, working in a nonprofit that helps the elderly. Very, very well known. But as I say, it depends on brand identification as well. And let's face it, the Liberals have done such a great job of making themselves invisible for the past few years. It's almost like they have to reintroduce themselves to everybody. Maybe people will remember the bad things. Maybe they won't. We'll see what happens tonight. But the fact is, I think the Liberals had better keep their fingers crossed and hope they have a decent showing. Because if they don't, I think the first arrows that will be knocked and shot towards Monsieur Rodriguez will be coming from his own party.
So let me go to your other point here that I'm reading now, which is the suggestion that this must have happened, I guess, when I was away. Has there been, or there's what, the threat of a cabinet shuffle by the CAC?
Oh, he's gonna shuffle the cabinet at the end of by Labor Day.
Okay.
I mean, he announced this, and it was like, and I remember, this happened when you were here. I know it seems so long ago, Aaron, but it happened when you were here. And the fact is, I said then, and as I say now, what a stupid thing to do, because you're basically putting everyone on the back foot. They don't know what's going on, and you haven't. It looks like a Hail Mary. It looks like a desperation move on your part, because you're looking for somebody to try and change the channel with these lousy poll numbers. And the fact, with every passing day, more and more Quebecers realize that nobody in your government has a clue about what they're doing. So, but now it's like, reporters are going up to cabinet ministers and they're saying, like, are you happy in your portfolio? Because this thing is happening. This is going to be coming up by Labor Day. And of course, everyone's freaking out. They don't know what to say. They go, well, no, I'm happy. I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
But it's like all this kind of fear and loathing that's being created for what? For what reason? To buy Francois Legault some time, to buy the CAC some time. As I say, I think if the CAC is going to survive the 2026 election, the first thing that it's going to have to jettison is Francois Legault. And even then, if it's a one-man show, then Tom Hugh, it ran its course. But in the meantime, to have this government, which is beleaguered and beset by any number of problems, all of them of its own creation, how do you expect to proceed between now and, God help us, the more than 14 months we have left till the election, with all of this uncertainty, all of this kind of nervousness over what's going to happen next, and who knows what's going to happen next? Who knows what new scandal is going to break? We thought it was over with Sacrik, but now we're finding there's other problems perhaps with a lot of the attempts to digitalize other government agencies. And it's only we're not hearing about it now because everyone's on vacation. I assume a lot of newsrooms are saving their fastball for the return in September. But I don't think the CAC's troubles are anywhere near being over, and I don't think rearranging the deck chairs on Titanic is going to help.
We leave it at that. Jim, thank you. It's good to be back. I appreciate it.
Matt.